Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Realm, and the first time I've been able to record in a long time. And if you missed it, that was because of several problems with my computer. I'm not going to go into detail really. Basically, partition corruption, file corruption. I lost one entire drive, had to reformat another entire drive, and oh yeah, and I installed two other operating systems, and then had a problem with Steam, and now I have to reinstall all my games, with the exception of KSP, because that was actually already in a place where it's fine. Today we're starting out with the Dassault Raphael, also known as the... No, I was about to call it the wrong thing entirely. No, it's just the Dassault Raphael. This was made by Soundwave. Let me double check. Yes, Soundwave, indeed. Soundwave made this. He also made most of, if not all of the planes I will take a look at today. This is a multi-role fighter aircraft. And let's see, what else do I want to say? Oh yes, it's French. It's a French thing, which explains the name. It is a cool name, by the way. I like the name. I do not like the Z fighting. Of course, in order to get the angled looks and everything on here right, it's kind of unavoidable, which is unfortunate. But it's like, I'm trying to ignore it because this does look really nice despite that. Huh. That's interesting. So apparently the Dassault Raphael is distinct from many other planes created in that era, by that it was European planes specifically, that it was created almost entirely by one by one country. It is a French plane. It was made in France. Well, maybe not in France. It was French, and yeah, which is interesting. So I'm reading up on it as I'm flying it. Let's go ahead and it's rather slow right now. That is interesting. I wonder if that's just I believe KSP, I remember ever since, it's been a while, so I don't remember exactly, but if I remember correctly, since 1.0, these basic jet engines were nerfed with every update. Every update, they're like, actually they're still too strong. Actually they're still too strong. Which, I can understand why they might think they need to nerf them, but at the same time it's kind of like, but I liked flying things at ridiculous speeds like this. It's interesting. I wonder, are these... No, I was gonna say, are these thrust limited? Because this thing is rather slow. It might be that it's just kind of heavy, because it does have a lot of fuselage. A lot of fueled fuselage, although the rear ones are empty. Probably for balance reasons, because else it might not have worked properly. Oh, that's locked off. That's interesting. Oh, you left the monoprop in it. Alright. Agile. Well, it's supposed to be agile. It makes sense, yes. Rather slow, but turns fairly well. Doesn't lose a lot of speed turning, although let me try another turn real fast, another loop. Actually, no, it loses quite a substantial amount of speed while looping, which is unfortunate, because that is bad for combat. And, okay, good. I was afraid I pulled that loop a little too low to the ground or something. But yeah, looks like it's pretty good. I wish it would go faster, but let's see. So I'm just reading the Wikipedia page now. Interesting. Whoa. Did something just like appear next to the cockpit briefly? I swear, I looked back at the screen and there was this weird glitch for a moment. Maybe it was my mouse and I confused myself, but it didn't look like the mouse. Anyhow, let's crash this into the ground and check out the next plane. Beautiful. Next up, we have the Eurofighter Typhoon, also known as the Eurofighter Ep.26, as is actually named up here. And, sorry, I was looking at the Wikipedia, and I said that the wrong way around. I was actually going to say it the other way around, originally. Let's see. Development of the aircraft effectively began in 1983 with the Future European Fighter Aircraft Program, a multinational collaborative effort between UK, Germany, France, Italy, and Spain. But because of disagreements over design authority and operational requirements, France left the consortium to develop the Dassault Raphael. So that would explain why they are somewhat similar, I imagine, in that they started to be designed together, and then France went, no, fuck you, and they're like, we're gonna make our own with blackjack and hookers, except I don't think you'd be able to fit. Well, actually, theirs had a bigger cockpit, so actually maybe they could fit blackjack and hookers in their bigger cockpit. Yes. So it's the same role, multi-role rather, and it's similar. Let's see. It's a highly agile aircraft designed to be a supremely effective dogfighter. when in combat with other aircraft. Well, yes, that's what dogfighting is. Later production aircraft have increasingly better equipped to undertake air-to-surface strike missions and to be compatible with a likewise increasing number of different armaments and equipment, including Storm Shadow and RAF's Brimstone, which I have no idea what those are, so I'm actually gonna look those up right now. Let's see. Comparing it to the Raphael, it seems it turns a little bit slower. It feels like it's turning a little bit slower. I can't quite tell for certain. It's turning a little bit slower, but it's also faster in the air. I wonder if that's true with the real one or not. Storm Shadow is an air-launched cruise missile made by the British, French, and Italians. In French service, it's called the Scalp EG. That's cool. Approximately 250 kilometer range. Interesting. And I imagine you'd sit one of those right under the center of this, although I could be completely wrong. I don't know where they'd fit the missiles on the damn thing. Well, it looks like from the picture, although it's not the best picture, that you could sit something right under the center. Why is my controls not working? There we go. The problem with accidentally clicking outside the window. Your controls just suddenly cease to work. I noticed that this one... Oh, no, there's still Z-fighting on these, unfortunately. I was going to say, there isn't Z-fighting, or at least there's not as much. There's a little bit of Z-fighting, but overall it does seem like it has less of a problem with it. Although part of that is actually just due to the fact that we're flying right now. Like, see, this is Z-fighting, but because of the aerodynamic forces in KSP and that parts can give a little bit, it's actually handling it quite well. This thing does not mind going into... Well, it didn't go into a flat spin, but it did turn pretty quickly on that yaw axis, which is interesting. Look at that. Just... It's like pulling a handbrake in an airplane. That's hilarious. Alright, I think we're too low in altitude to do a proper loop, which is why I'm not going to do a full loop. There we go. Beautiful. I do like the way it flies. I like the way the other one flies too. I like this one a bit more because it's a bit faster. And, whoa, that's not good. Oh. Yeah, I totally meant to do that. That was perfect aerodynamic skill and not an accidental, like, almost fuck up. Yeah, totally. Let's move on to the next plane. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, Brimstone is an air-launched ground attack missile developed by MBDA, which I'm guessing is an organization in one of those European countries. Originally intended for fire-forget use against mass formations of enemy armor, using a millimetric wave active radar homing seeker. Nice. And it's, what's the MBDA? European Developer and Manufacturer of Missiles. Doesn't say what it stands for. Okay. Wait. Matra Defense and Bay. Oh my god, Bay Dynamics. It's literally BAE, like, you know, that whole, like, meme saying Bay instead of Babe, which is dumb, by the way. Just saying it's kind of dumb. Anyhow, this is an F-16, so we're going a completely different direction, away from the European countries and stuff, to America. Wait, is this active for roll? Oh, good, it's not. Okay. Because it's, like, clipped in here, and if you activated it, it would clip through things. See, look, it just... that looks ugly because it's clipping through in a weird way, but let's just turn those back off. And what did I say? It's an F-16 by General Dynamics, which is now Lockheed Martin. It's a single-engine, multi-role fighter aircraft for the United States Air Force. Of course it is. That is what it is. That's interesting. Yeah, so the real F-16, if you've ever seen one, it has a bubble cockpit. It's all like one entire glass piece rather than having frames in it, which is really cool. I'm trying to remember if the internals for this... the internals for this has a frame, which is interesting because this cockpit doesn't have a frame. And this is the first time I noticed that. This, there's clearly not a frame on the outside, but there is on the inside, which is kind of funny. So, yeah, let's go ahead and pull those landing gear in. This one comes with extended fuel supply, which is cool. We have little drop tanks on here, which are, of course, steadily running out of fuel. Again, it's a little bit slower. Oh, you know what? I'm curious. This can probably go pretty damn fast if we get it high enough in the air. Because of the way KSP handles... What's it called? Like Mach speed. Once you get up to 400 meters per second, the turbojet will actually... It's difficult to get up to 400 meters per second, but once you're there, it will accelerate very quickly afterwards to go even faster. And I think they did that partially as a reason to make basic jets actually useful, because they'd be more useful below 400 meters per second, whereas turbojets would be more useful above it. I'm not 100% certain on that or not. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But yes, it's very cool. I'm reading this little bit about how it has the control stick is mounted to the side instead of like in the middle to make it easier to control while maneuvering. The seat is reclined to reduce the effect of G-forces, and it's the first use of a relaxed static stability / fly-by-wire flight control system to help make it nimble, which is definitely something I believe the F-16 has a reputation for. If it doesn't, then I'm wrong, but yes, it's nimble. I suppose I should test that. Of course, right now we're not going very fast, and doesn't feel very nimble, but then again that could just be because I was doing this while ascending rather than like while level or something. But I'm gonna go I'm gonna go up a bit more and try and get some serious speed built up. So I'm reading about the development of the F-16. Experiences in the Vietnam War revealed the need for an air superiority fighter and better air-to-air training for fighter pilots. Oh hey, I've heard of this before, although I've never actually heard of the name of it. The energy maneuverability theory, which is basically that the more energy you have, the more maneuverable you are. I'm guessing, I'm not 100% sure, but useful in describing an aircraft's performance is the total kinetic and potential energies, or aircraft-specific energy. It relates the thrust, weight, drag, wing area, and other flight characteristics of an aircraft to a quantitative model. Allows the combat capabilities of various aircraft or prospective design trade-offs to be predicted and compared. Interesting. And I'm guessing it's because it's based on the whole thing with combat, where if you have more speed, you have more capability to do things, and you sacrifice speed to maneuver. Something like that. Of course, I'm not a fighter pilot. I barely know anything about planes relative to someone who actually flies, yet alone does combat stuff, so don't take my word for it. Look it up. In any case, I think these are, if they're not, yeah, they're out of fuel, so let's go ahead and ditch those. Whee! And bomb some poor sheep that doesn't exist, because there's no sheep in this game. Man, it's been so long since I've played this game, it's been so long since I've made a video, I'm just enjoying just looking at it. Basically, when they developed the F-16, they came up with a project and called for a fighter to fill a specific role, which is, let's see, optimized for combat at speeds of Mach 0.6 to 1.6, altitudes of 30,000 to 40,000 feet, because this is the region where they thought most future air combat would occur, and that was what the F-16 was developed to fight in and work in. Did you hear something just explode? I heard something explode. That was probably the, yep, that was the stuff that we just dropped. Exploded. Shouldn't be able to hear that all the way up here, I don't think, but we did anyhow. Alright, I'm getting tired of going with this climb, so I'm actually going to pull down and see how much speed we can get, just by letting it fall straight down. Not straight down, but at a decent angle. We're not accelerating fast enough for my liking, so I'm gonna actually pull us into more of a straight down dive. And I guess we're gonna really test how quickly this thing can pull up, because we're gonna need to pretty quickly once we get down here. And we're decelerating already. Damn. But it pulls out of the dive pretty quickly and loses all of the airspeed. There we go, we're back at flying really low speeds again. Yeah, so unfortunately the performance isn't the best, but there you go. Next up, we have the Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor, which is a single-seat, twin-engine, all-weather stealth tactical fighter aircraft developed for the United States Air Force. Again, of course. And they did a very good job of making this sleek, and I think they also did a very good job of making it definitely appear to be the correct airframe for an F-22, which is really nice looking. I mean, have you ever seen an F-22? They do look really fucking cool, and this does look really fucking cool. I'm ever so slightly annoyed by that. There's this little gap here, but I understand it's kind of impossible to be perfect, especially when your smallest plate is like that, and you know, you're dealing with limited parts, and you just have to do the best you can in certain places, which is unfortunate. But it does look very nice overall if you just look at the outside of things. Don't look too closely at some of the weird details where things clip, but I do very much like how you've made the rear here. These are, I assume those are, yep, turbo ramjets, and this is very cool. I love how you've done the vector thrust out here. Like, it actually looks like an F-22's vector thrust out back here, which I am enjoying the look of very much. Even the fact that it has these little like structural panels here, I don't know why, but I actually really like the way they look there. Like, it just gives it a more industrial look, I guess, and it's like the internals of the engine, so it kind of makes sense, I guess. The actual F-22, I believe, has the actual like vent, or I guess where the engine ends, is a lot further back than this, but because he was using the, whatchamacallit, these structural intakes to make that kind of, that style, that design of the output of the, I don't know, what do you call it, the nozzle, it made the engine have to go further in, which actually makes the weight of the engine in a more realistic place, because in KSP your engines are just these tiny little bits which are basically the nozzle, whereas the actual engine in real life would be the area in front of the nozzle, not the nozzle itself. There's actually an interesting quirk involving that if you use the Rapier engines. The Rapier engines, if you look at their weight, the center of their mass is actually in front of the engine. The center of mass is actually, like where I'm holding it now, the center of mass is where the cockpit is, like in front of it, which is interesting. Oh yeah, I forgot these exist. Little jump jet engines. That's part of, oh, the Kerbal Aircraft Expansion. I need to mess with those at some point, try them out. Anyhow, let's go ahead and give the F-22 a fly. So this aircraft is supposed to be an air superiority fighter, and it has additional capabilities, yes, I can talk, including ground attack, electronic warfare, and signals intelligence. And where was I? There was something I was going to read about. Boeing provided the wings, aft fuselage, and avionics integration. Oh, and training systems, but Lockheed Martin did everything else, basically. That's a kind of interesting cooperation there. And, let's see. It was variously designated F-22/FA-22 prior to formally entering service in December 2005. I love the turn rate on this. That thing pulls up really quickly. That is nice. I am enjoying the way this flies very well. Look at that. You're like, I'm gonna turn around now, and it's like, okay, turning around. And just done so quickly. It's very nice. Yeah, the F-22 actually had a very long development issue and a lot of issues with its operation, including... No, wait. I'm trying to remember now if it was the F-22 or the F-35 that had a problem with the oxygen system, actually. I think it was the F-35 had a problem with the oxygen system, and pilots were having issues, especially during vertical landings. I think it was the F-35. I mean, the F-22 obviously doesn't do vertical landings. That's the F-35. So I think it was the F-35 that had that problem, but I'm not sure. And the F-22 program was shut down after a final procurement tally of 187 operational production aircraft. Yeah. And the last F-22 was delivered to the U.S. Air Force in 2012. Yeah. So this has been replaced by the F-35, pretty much. And let's see, what was I going to say? There was something... The U.S. Air Force considers the F-22 a critical component of its tactical air power and states that the aircraft is unmatched by any known or projected fighter. Okay. I'm not sure if that's true, but I think it is. Pretty sure it is. And, yeah. Sorry about the frame rate. I think this F-22 has a lot of parts and my computer doesn't like it, so that's unfortunate. Wow, yeah, that frame rate is bad. Let's move on to the next thing before my computer self-destructs. Next up we have the F-35, which is what replaced the F-22. and some other things as well, I believe. Well, they're trying to make it, if I remember correctly, one of the big criticisms of the F-35 is how it's supposed to be everything. Like, it's supposed to be just everything. In fact, here it is. It's a stealth multi-role fighter. Yeah, and it's actually it's several different fighters. There's 3 different versions, I want to say. There's 3 different versions that are actually being built, if I remember correctly. But there's multiple designs past that. And they all are very similar. Some of them have, like, I believe one of them has, like, the ends of the wings can rotate up, like, to fold it away and put it on a carrier, and that would also be the one that can do vertical takeoff and landing. There's another one that would do short takeoff and landing, I believe, but not vertical. And you can see it just borrowed design elements from the not F-16, god damn it, the F-22. It has the same kind of, it has a similar overall shape. Although, if you look at the actual thing compared to the in-game version, you can see there's a bit more of a difference. Not too much of a difference, but it's a lot more noticeable. Let me just put it that way, I guess. Although, this is pretty noticeably different, too. Yes, let's go ahead and give that to... Oh yes, there is an engine thrust down right there. This is a vertical takeoff and landing. Let's see where the engines are. Yep, hidden one in there, the rear one, hidden one there, hidden one there, hidden one there. Interesting. Oh, you know what it is? It's because, remember how I said they nerfed the power on these? So this was made newer, so it has more of them. Alright, so we have hovering with the second key and flight with the first. Alright, so we're going to enable the brakes, turn on stability assist. We're not going to enable RCS, even though it is there. And I'm going to hit 2 for vertical takeoff. Meanwhile, I just found actually that in the article on my other monitor that I was looking at, it actually says it right there. The F-35 has 3 main models, which are the F-35A, which is for conventional takeoff and landing. There's the F-35B for short takeoff and landing. And there's the F-35C, which is for carrier-based catapult-assisted takeoff but arrested recovery variant. And also, you might have noticed, because I was partially reading that while trying to fly, I kind of messed up that takeoff slightly. Although, overall, I'd say I did alright, despite that slight mistake. Ooh, this thing does a very quick roll. I like that. Very maneuverable. Not as fast, of course, KSP physics and whatnot. It has only a single engine, whereas the F-22 had 2, even though the F-22 was a bit bigger. That makes me kind of curious how they compare in engine output, the F-35 and the F-22, because I do not know. I'm looking at something right now, and it doesn't say, which is unfortunate. And right now I'm going to go ahead and hit 2, turn off 1, turn the throttle down to 1/3, and we're going to see how well we can do a vertical landing now that we've done a vertical takeoff. Oops, let's try and... I think we need more thrust than that. Yeah. That's not going to end well, especially because I didn't put the gear down until the last second. Whee! Oh. I messed that up. Of course the nose cone survives. Also, there's a lovely little bit of engine still running while it's shredding to pieces. That's great. Let's try that again. So I just went to go briefly look at the section on Wikipedia entitled Program Cost Increases and Delays. And let me just say, that portion of the article is so long, I can't possibly even try to summarize it while recording. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff about controversy over the F-35. And then now I'm looking at the concerns over performance and safety. And let's see. Simulations regarding its air-to-air performance described as 4th generation fighters, in which it says it's 400% more effective. Huh? What? I could have sworn there was something else about it. Oh, I've accidentally enabled all engines. That would explain why we're moving forward. I was very confused by that. Let's nosedive into the ground and try that again. And by nosedive into the ground, I actually mean do a relatively safe landing. See? Relatively safe. Let's disable the main engine. Wait for it to come to a stop. And then take off again. Let's see. There's something else. There's something else. There's a thing about how they're like, no, we will not give over the software source code to our allies. America being bullheaded again. Come on, take off. Come on, I know you can do it at 2/3 thrust. See, I told you you could do it at 2/3 thrust. Right, let's engage the main engine. Get our velocity going forwards a bit. Pull up slightly. And after we build up a tiny bit of speed, not too much, we can disable the engines, throttle up. And as you can see, we fall just a little bit. We have to tilt up just a little bit to get more lift. And then we manage to take off just fine. And fly around on that single rear turbojet. Whoa. This thing's flying very slowly right now. Alright. Let's go ahead and enable secondary engines. Turn the throttle down to 2/3. Disable the primary engine. And let's go ahead and do a weird turn. Alright. Okay, let's get serious now. We want to come down safely. Let's take a look at that. Oh look, almost no lift. Of course, as soon as we pull up at all, there's like a ton of lift. Which makes no sense, but the game does it anyhow. Okay, this is too high a thrust. See, we're going up. I knew it was too high. Okay, but it's only barely too high, so we need to watch how quickly we're falling. Looks good. Falling a bit forward still. Falling a bit too quickly for my liking. Unfortunately, there is a lag time in engaging thrust and actually getting the thrust. And we're gonna, bounce the rear on the ground. But otherwise, it was a successful landing. I haven't done VTOL landings much in a long time, so my, whatchamacallit, I'm not very practiced at the time being, so of course I'm not very good at the time being. Look at that. Look at that. And it's pitching up. Too much. Very nice. Alright, and let's get some speed up. Going towards the ground, of course. Pulling up. Turning. Very nice. Oh, that's interesting. In a report released in 2013, it was stated that flaws in the fuel tank and fuel-based hydraulic systems have left it considerably more vulnerable to lightning strikes and other fire sources, including enemy fire, which especially at lower altitudes. Well, that sucks. Adding fire suppression systems would offer a very small improvement to survivability. That's probably true to a certain degree. I mean, if you get hit, you're probably already dead. But not 100% sure on that. And this is the sustained turn. Wait, what? Noted performance degradation of the three variants. The sustained turn rates had been reduced to 4.6 Gs for the A, 4.5 G for the B, and 5 G for the C. The acceleration performance of all three variants was also downgraded. The F-35C taking 43 seconds longer than the F-16 to accelerate from Mach 0.8 to 1.2. That sucks. Oh, what's this? Take several complex maneuvers in order to accelerate, which consumed almost all... Wait, what? On August 30th, 2013, it was reported that the B and C models take several complex maneuvers in order to accelerate to their top speed of Mach 1.6, which consumed almost all of the onboard fuel. And the F-35 program office is considering the addition of previously removed safety equipment. Yeah, that's fun. Also, U.S. Air Force test pilots flying with pre-operational software that did not utilize all-aspect infrared AAQ-37 DAS sensor noted a lack of visibility from the cockpit during evaluation flights, which should get them consistently shot down if they were in combat. Defense spending analyst Winslow Wheeler concluded from flight evaluation reports that it's flawed beyond redemption. Yeah, that's a statement I've heard before, which sucks because it's such a cool-looking plane. But apparently... Oh! Ejection seat may fail. Interesting. Several pilot vehicle interface issues, including lack of feedback on the touchscreen controls. The current software is inadequate even for basic training. The radar performs poorly or not at all. Yeah, there's many things that in response, Program Manager Bogtan suggested that pilots worried about being shot down should fly cargo aircraft instead. That's great. That's when I say great, I'm being sarcastic. Alright, let's do another vertical landing. Whoops. I did not do that turn the way I meant to. There we go. This isn't so much a vertical landing as it is a short landing. Actually, let's see, we're still coming down with some forward speed. Oh wait, hold on. There we go. Alright, let's come right down here and then pull up. Whoa. No, never put me in control of a fighter aircraft, because you see what happens if I'm put into control of... Oh, we just ran out of fuel. Good thing we were going at a low speed, not high above the surface, because holy shit. Hey, remember how I was just talking about doing maneuvers and using up all of the fuel? That is great timing. Look at that. This is why you don't run out of fuel while flying an aircraft. And this, the F-117 Nighthawk, will be the last plane that I take a look at today, with all its many, many structural grills in the rear there. That is really cool. I like the way you did that. Very cool. Oh, and struts on the front. Yeah, trying to emulate the grill on this thing. Of course, the real thing has a slanted grill. This is ever so slightly slanted, but not really, although I can understand why it wasn't. I mean, damn, it's difficult to make something like this with the KSP parts. I'd say you did a pretty damn good job, because it's basically impossible, and it'll probably fly even worse. I don't know, let's see. The aerodynamics were improved in 1.0, so maybe it'll fly better, maybe it won't. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. So this is very interesting. I'm reading about it. This is based off of the Lockheed... Oh, look at that, because the effects go through those plates. Oh, that is so cool. The F-117, if you didn't know, is based off of the Have Blue, which is the code name for Lockheed's tech demonstrator of the technology of the stealth of this plane, which, if you didn't know, that's why it looks so frickin' weird, is because the stealth. It also, quite possibly, is... responsible for certain UFO reports because of, it's also possibly responsible for certain UFO reports because the Have Blue was tested in... That's interesting, the cockpit is actually tilted slightly down in here. I just noticed that. Yes, the Have Blue was tested in Groom Lake, Nevada, which, if you don't know what Groom Lake is, that would be what everyone calls Area 51. The Have Blue was the first fixed-wing aircraft designed from an electrical engineering rather than aerospace engineering perspective, which is interesting. The aircraft's plate-like faceted shape was designed to deflect electromagnetic waves in directions other than the originating radar emitter, greatly reducing its radar cross-section, aka stealth. Two flyable vehicles were constructed, but both crashed during the flight test program. I didn't know that. That is interesting. And basically it was designed based on the idea that if we were to come into conflict with the Warsaw Pact, NATO forces would suffer heavy losses in their aircraft. And so they started working on low observability aircraft, seeking to design and produce an operational stealth aircraft. And the result was this, the F-117. Let's see. The first flight was in 1981. It was in its initial operating capability in 1983, and then it was revealed in 1988. Huh, it's interesting. I was just reading, there was one F-117 lost in combat. It was shot down during a mission against the Army of Yugoslavia, and basically it was a surface-to-air missile, which the troops spotted the aircraft on radar when its bomb bay doors opened, which, you know, raises its radar signature, And one source states that one of the missiles detonated by its proximity fuse near the F-117. And so the aircraft became uncontrollable, forcing the pilot to eject. The pilot was recovered 6 hours later by a pararescue team, which is cool. And photos show that the aircraft struck the ground at low speed in an inverted position, and that the airframe remained relatively intact, which is interesting. While the name Captain Kin Wiz Dwell was painted on the canopy, it was revealed in 2007 that the pilot was Lieutenant Colonel Dale Zelko. The stealth technology from the downed F-117 may have been acquired by Russia and China. Oh well. Some American sources say that a second F-117A was damaged during the same campaign, but the aircraft returned to base and never flew again. Okay, interesting. That's interesting. Apparently they worked on an F-117N Seahawk, for N for Navy version, and it was met with not very much enthusiasm, but then they worked on creating a new version of it that had better multi-role capabilities. And let's see, and yeah, there was some proposals, but no one ever went for it. So yeah, they tried to make a Navy version, but it never went anywhere. Let's see. Okay, so I've been just kind of flying it around, and now I'm out of fuel. Well, there goes... I was about to say, hey, let's try some weird maneuvers, like yawing as hard as we can to the left, which I'm now doing. It doesn't do much. And pitching. Well, pitching we'd already been doing, and rolling we'd already been doing. But, it flies fairly well considering its shape, which is a weird box with wings and a V attached to the rear. But yeah, that's about all for this time. Thanks for watching, and as always, see you in space.